Hi there, I'm Steve Hart, and I want to share with you something this morning I felt was important. During my morning meditations, I felt that I got the message that I was supposed to share with you today my story about some of my recent healing. Um, about the time of the first of the year here in 2018, um, I got that nasty flu, and I have not been sick in 6 years, not a flu or a cold. And all of a sudden, this thing hit me, and it wouldn't let go during the whole month of January. And then eventually, I developed an infection through my body, and it was moving around in different locations and so forth, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Eventually, I ended up going to a doctor of Western medicine, and when I went to see them, they were very concerned for me, my heart, and uh, just my overall health was not in the best of shape, and they realized that. They gave me some antibiotics, which did relieve me from some of the infection. But I still felt this very sick feeling in my body, and there was a lady who showed up at one of our coffee talk groups, and she was a Chinese doctor. Now, I had been to a Chinese doctor about 15 years ago and treated me with some success. So I was very receptive and open to her and went to see her. And one of the first things that she told me was regarding my blood pressure. When I went to the Western medicine doctor, they were wanting to put me on blood pressure medication because I knew I had high blood pressure as a result of this illness I was experiencing, and I couldn't get my blood pressure down. So she said, we in the Chinese Eastern medicine, we treat blood pressure as a symptom, not as a condition. You see, the Western medicine doctor wanted to put me on blood pressure medication to control my blood pressure and to force it down. The Eastern Chinese doctor wanted me to figure out or remove what was causing the high blood pressure. She already knew what it was. She told me what it was, and that was, she referred to it as phlegm, or as you may commonly call it, inflammation. You see, our body holds inflammation as a result of the wear and tear and the foods we eat and the poisons that come into our body and so forth. And as we age, it's more difficult for us to deplete or remove them from our system. So she says, I'm going to give you this herb, which you have to boil down, and then you drink it twice a day. And I have to be honest with you, it is terrible tasting stuff. But you know what? When I started taking this, it's commonly called a tea. She calls it pond scum because that's what it looks like and that's what it tastes like. But when I started taking this, after 3 or 4 days, my blood pressure came down. And I've now been on it for about 5 weeks now. And I cannot tell you the difference in the way I feel. It's a completely different feeling. I mean, I have more energy, I have more alertness, I'm more attuned with my body. And I'm continuing to take it, and I will until I am completely free from the toxins and the inflammation in my body. Not quite there yet. Now, money-wise, she's nothing compared to the Western doctor. The Western doctors want to charge all kinds of money to, particularly put me on the blood pressure medication and all that stuff. Whereas in case of the Chinese doctor, it is costing me some money, but a minimal amount comparatively. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because there's a difference in the way in which Eastern and Western medicine practice. In the Eastern Chinese medicine, they are taking a more natural approach to the body, and they're using herbs and roots and seeds and berries. I don't know what all is in this. I get this bag of stuff and I boil it, and that's how I get the soup or the tea that I drink. But this stuff is thousands of years old. It's been around for years. I don't know what is in it. I don't ask her what's in it. It doesn't make any difference. The point is it works. And what it does is it's a natural way of the body releasing this inflammation, this phlegm. So therefore, the Eastern medicine is more of an allowing than it is trying to control. Whereas Western medicine basically is try to take control of the body and to manipulate it through a force energy. There is a manipulation of the chemicals, the pharmaceuticals, and we also know that doctors love to open you up and cut on you and mechanically alter and change, which I'm not totally against. So don't be wrong. I mean, if that's what you need, then have it done. But I have found from my own experience, it's much better to go to the West or the Eastern way of thinking of allowing. That energy comes from an energy of love. It's the body's way of healing. I have discovered in my own experiences that my body wants to heal itself. All I have to do is remove whatever is causing the dis-ease within my body. Notice I'm saying dis-ease. So it's quite often caused by stress or emotion or poison or things that are in my body, which is attached to my awareness, obviously. That's where the emotion comes in. And stress. These things, if we don't release them, if we don't let go of them, they end up showing physically in our body. And obviously that's what's happened with me. As I've gotten older, I've held on to a lot of stress. I'm the kind of person that likes to see himself as being really strong. I'm a big, tall guy, and it's natural for me to think that way. Now, not everybody is that way, but the point I'm making is that we hold on to the things that are causing the inflictions in our body. So the Eastern medicine basically is allowing the release of this dis-ease in our body, or whatever it's causing an affliction, and flushing it and moving it out of our body so the body can come back to a natural state of being and more back into balance. So for me, folks, I'm just sharing with you my experience and what's been happening with me and the changes it's made, and I'm going to continue to do so, and I may be reporting back to you at a later date. So be careful when you make your decisions as to who and where you're going to get medical help. Like I say, I'm not against doctors or hospitals, but let me just tell you this. My degree, I was a nurse graduate in an RN program. And I worked in the medical field. I worked around the hospitals. I worked with the doctors, became friends with the doctors. And one thing I learned about Western medicine is they are practicing medicine. They didn't perfect it. And most of what I see in the Western medicine is pretty invasive, pretty what I call radical procedures. And even the medicine, even the pharmaceutical medicine itself. I mean, a great deal of the pharmaceutical medicine has side effects, as you know that. And also some of the pharmaceuticals, once you start taking them, you can't just stop taking them. You have to wean yourself off of them. That right there should tell us something about that type of medicine. Whereas the Chinese Eastern medicine is a more natural way of bringing about the healing. So I'm learning about it. I'm not going to go into great detail as to how she actually knows what's wrong with me. She's told me, and it was a lady doctor, by the way, a Chinese doctor, and she's told me that my heart is doing much better, my blood pressure is down, she's still working on my spleen and my liver and just a purification of my body and getting these toxins out. it's working. That's the thing, is I can feel it working. I'm getting my strength back. I'm getting my energy back, and so once again, I hope that this has helped you and your considerations in your own healing. God bless.